What's up, everybody? So they released a preview for the Speed Freaks booster, I should say starter, and we're gonna get into the rules. When roving bands of orcs come across each other in the wastelands, violence is inevitable. Nobody is willing to back down until the fighting is done, especially when the battlefield is rich in valuable scrap. The speed mobs. This battle is fought between 2 to 4 players. Each player controls a speed mob made up of 1 wagon and 3 warbikers. Create the battlefield by setting up 4 speed freaks boards as shown below. It's their, just kitty corner to each other, I'll say. And the players then each roll D8 re-rolling ties, and then starting with the player that rolled the highest, alternating setting up an obstacle on the battlefield until 6 are set up. Obstacles must be set up more than 2 inches away from any deployment zones and more than 8 inches away from each other. Each player rolls all of their speed freaks dice and counts the numbers of lightning bolt results. The player that has the lowest score picks 1 11 by 8 inch deployment zones shown below and sets up their speed mob wholly within it. The player that has the next lowest score picks one of the remaining 8 by 11 inch 11 by 8 inch deployment zones shown below and sets up their speed mob wholly within it. And so on until all players have set up their speed mobs. If any scores are tied, the tied players must roll off until one score is lower. Squig Nest. Roll a speed freaks dice each time a model finishes a move within 2 inches of an obstacle on a cartoon punch symbol. Draw a damage card for that model. Battle length. The battle lasts for 5 rounds or until one player has models. Only one player has models remaining on the battlefield. Victory conditions. Players score 1 point for each warbiker they destroy and 3 points for each wagon they destroy. If a model is destroyed as a result of an additional damage card drawn due to the effects of a burn-in damage card, the player who made the attack which inflicted the burn-in card scores points for that model. If a model has 2 or more burn-in damage cards on it, the player that controls the model may decide in which order they are resolved at the start of each round. The player that has the most points is the winner. In case of a tie for the most points, all tied players are winners. Pretty fantastic stuff. There's the Shock Jump Dragster that has an armor of 4, hits of 9, melee of 3, and a driving skill of 8. Don't know what any of that means. It's got a custom shock rifle, a front of 12 inches, front arc I should say, 2 shots, 2 damage. Your opponent must roll 1 fewer defense dice against this weapon. If you score 2 or more lightning bolt results when making an attack with this weapon, draw a damage card for the target before any defense dice are rolled. You can reroll 1. Alright, rocket launcher. It's front arc, 2 damage, 12 inch, 2 shots, weapon that rerolls failed 1 attack roll for this weapon. Has axle saws in the fighting phase. You can reroll 1 attack dice if the target of if its attacks are in the model's front arc. It's got shock jump supercharger. If you roll 2 or more lightning bolt results on the speeding dice with this model is picked to move instead of moving it normally, you can pick a point on the battlefield within 12 inches of this model and set up the model with the center of the base on this point facing any direction. Explodes. If this model is destroyed, roll a speed freaks dice before removing the model on a lightning bolt. It explodes. Draw a damage card for each model within 3 inches before removing this model. Warbikers. 2 armor, 2 hits, 3 melee, 8 driving skill. The war boss has 2 hits. The boss knob has 2 hits. They have DACA guns, which are front arcs, 12 inches, 4 shots, 1 damage apiece. Options: 1 warbiker in your speed mob can be a boss knob. Boss knob uses the knob profile below and can be armed with a big chopper or a power claw. Oh yeah. In the Big Choppa. In the fighting phase, you can reroll 1 attack dice for a boss knob armed with the Big Choppa. If the target of the attack is in the model's left, right, or rear arc. Power Claw. In the fighting phase, draw a damage card for the target. If any attack rolls of lightning damage are made, a boss knob armed with a Power Claw before rolling any dice for the target. Defense dice for the target. Turbo button. Once per battle, when this model is picked to move, you can declare the rider will press the big red turbo button. When you do so, you can reroll 1 speed and dice for this model this round. There's a cunning phase, which allows you to stash a bunch of dice, and then apparently the cunning dice allows you to move first, and then there's shooting dice and speeding and shooting pools. Speeding phase allows you to move, and each vehicle has to have a speed dice. There's a turbine sprue drill, which you can add 1 additional dice for the other model when this model rams and the collision point is in this model's front arc. Interesting. Then the custom boom blaster has a rivet cannon, which is a 360 or front, left, right, and rear arc. 12-inch, 3-shot, 2 damage. Your opponent must re-roll 1 successful defense dice when making defense rolls against this weapon if the target is within 6 inches of this model. It's got left and right exhaust burners, which are the same. 2 shots, 6-inch range, 1 damage. Attack rolls of defense, sniper target thing, and lightning bolt are successful with this weapon. They have 3 stratagem cards that they previewed, which is Crunch. This model suffers 1 damage. Burning. Place this card next to a model's data card. Add 1 to the driving test for this model. In addition, at the start of each round, roll a d8 on a 1 to 4. The fire goes out. Discard this damage card. On a 5 to 8, draw another damage card for that model. Driver wounded. Place this card next to this model's data card. You cannot use any snazzy gubbins and must add 1 to driving test for this model until the end of the battle. Ooh. They're fighting phase. This is where rival models within 2 inches of each other get to clumping. Hope you guys enjoyed this preview.